What's up, everybody? You guys are listening to the Red and Blue Rivalry podcast. This is the podcast where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers and Dallas Cowboys.
My name is Eric Hernandez, and I'm repping all the faithful.
And I am Philip Enriquez, and I am repping for America's team. And we got a lot to talk about. We got a couple of wins, couple of bounce-back wins from last week.
Much needed.
And we got a couple of big games coming up.
Yes.
So we got a lot to talk about, man. Let's go ahead and start it off by talking a little bit about the San Francisco 49ers. Let's review the game. We got the San Francisco 49ers beating their division rival, the Arizona Cardinals, by a score of 36-26. The San Francisco 49ers are now 9-1, and they're still the current number one seed in the NFC. And Arizona was up 16-0 midway through the second quarter. Then San Francisco went on to outscore them 36-10 after midway through that second quarter. What's your take on the way that game played out?
That game played out the way a Monday night morning for me used to be in my 20s, where I would wake up still hungover and just not feeling that day at work.
Yeah.
But then lunch hit, and I got my second win, and I was ready to go. And I think that's what happened to them. I mean, they looked, on defense, they just could not stop them. Now, I wanted to talk about, and I'll get into it after the recap, is this myth that the 49ers defense can't handle mobile quarterbacks, which it is not true. But what caused the Niners issues was their quick passing game. A lot of screens. The Arizona Cardinals did take advantage of the aggressive Niners defense and kind of went down the field on them.
Yeah.
They kept them off balance for a while, 16-0, bang. And then the offense really couldn't get on traction. I mean, it was, when I started watching, I was like, oh man, this was a big issue. I thought maybe, losing to Seattle left a bigger scar on this team than I originally thought. So I was a little bit nervous, but, in true Niner fashion, it's a screen to Richie James off of boot action, gets down the field, and Garoppolo delivers one of his touchdowns. Unfortunately, still no Kittle, which hurts.
Yeah.
I mean,
How hurt is Kittle? Because we're hearing whispers that he's not even going to play this week, that it's a game-time decision.
Yeah, and it is something that, I mean, every time I hear him talk and everything, it looks like he's ready to play, and then I get these reports, and it's like, the Niners, Shanahan has changed. He used to be very open with his players and how injured they were and how long. And now it seems like in a few years as being a head coach, he's kind of, I think, grown up and realized maybe I don't need to tell everybody their status. You don't
need to tip everybody off.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. I think that it's something to do with the ankle. I think maybe it's a high ankle sprain they don't want to talk about. Maybe it's a bone bruise in the knee that kind of like they can hide behind. We don't have to tell them it's the ankle. It's this. So to be honest, I'm not sure. I mean, this would be his third straight game he's missed. But they found a way. The running game, the Cardinals, just like last year, just like the last time on Halloween, and just like Seattle, they took away the running game and they put it on Garoppolo, and Garoppolo succeeded. I mean, he came through with 424 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, and then he led the game-winning touchdown drive.
So with all that being said, how would you rate the San Francisco 49ers offense and the guy under center for this game?
I would give him like an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, because the one interception is a tip. It's a bad location. And I think one thing that Shanahan, and I agree with to an extent, is, and we've said this, you miss the shots you don't take.
Right.
So he's not afraid to rip it. The issue with Garoppolo and the first interception he threw, when they were driving, they had a chance to put this game away really quickly. They had seized control momentum. Their defense had kind of slowed down Arizona. They figured out Arizona, what they were trying to do. Garoppolo's driving, and I don't know if this is something with Garoppolo where it's going to take an offseason and him kind of seeing himself under center.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This may be an offseason thing that he has to work on, is he does not recognize the underneath defender. He does not see him. That guy is, because you look at, that interception was right to, I forget the linebacker for Arizona. Then he had those 2 in the overtime game to Seattle where, again, they were just underneath defenders that went underneath the route and almost had interceptions. So he has trouble either seeing that or trusting his eyes. Something is there where you hope that he gets rid of that. He's going to be a quarterback that'll throw, if he throws hot, he makes decisions. They're going to bounce off receivers' hands. They're going to get picked. Those are the ones you want to see him correct. You know, you want to see him. But, man, throw after throw after throw, I mean, they put it on his shoulders, and he won the game.
Yeah, no, definitely. He definitely, I think he had a good day at the office.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it was anything spectacular. I think he makes his mistakes, but he makes some positive plays that won them the game. And, you know, I would say it's not as impressive as the previous Arizona game, but it wasn't what I felt was just a terrible performance against Seattle.
I think in the Arizona game, the first one you had, how do I say this? The short week hurt both defenses.
Yeah.
So I think he looked better than he normally did because Arizona was on a short week too. He had Kittle at least for the first half, whereas this one he didn't. And in this one, you also had Emmanuel Sanders in that first one.
Right.
He tried to go this one. He really couldn't. But, you know, all this may be a blessing in disguise in the long run because Deebo Samuel showed out.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude went huge. 8 receptions, 134 yards, average 16 yards reception. And that one touchdown was amazing. The one on the sideline where it looked like he was going to bobble it. It went in the air between two defenders. He caught it. I mean, the guy's making plays. I think moving forward for the Niners, it is going to be a rotate. The 3 receivers that Garoppolo's going to end up trusting is Kittle, Sanders, and Samuel. You know, those are the guys. And then you have Juszczyk too. I think that's your 4 that you're going to see Garoppolo target when they're all healthy and together. Unfortunately, you know, Dante Pettis he's not showing out, and he continues to just look lost. I mean, that may be one.
Shanahan's been speaking out against him.
Yeah, and
that doesn't sound like support from your head coach.
No,
that's not good if you're a player, man.
And it's just, I like him, but you know, he can separate. But what is good is separating if you can't catch the ball?
What good is arm strength if you're not accurate?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
The same thing.
You
don't have the package.
You know. And so on the offense, I was glad to see that they try to do what Seattle did, and they just don't have the horses Arizona does to do that to San Francisco and get away with it. But, man, if Deebo can continue to show out and they can get him going, I mean, that gives Garoppolo another weapon he can trust. That makes that offense even more dangerous when Kittle comes back. Hopefully this week against Green Bay, but we'll see what happens. But I want to talk about the defense. You know, there's this running issue of, oh, look what Kyler Murray did to them on Halloween. Look what Russell Wilson did to them. Look how close it was again against Arizona. And I think people are forgetting a couple things. You know, first off, with Arizona, that first game, and even in Arizona in this one, their style, their scheme, the way they play offense is built to kind of slow down our defense. It's a lot of quick rhythm passing.
Right.
And if you notice in this game, after those 16 points, they held them to 10. They said, okay, that's enough of that. And you notice, too, is that they didn't rush as fast. All of a sudden, Bosa and Ford, they slowed down.
Adjustments were made.
Yes, and they slowed down, and they gave it time, and that slowed down Kyler Murray from throwing those quick screens. Because normally they would rush, he'd throw a quick screen. This time he's like, okay, there's Bosa. I got to wait a half a second or a second.
Right.
Which allowed the defense to rally to those.
Yeah.
You know? So I look at it like, you know, that's one's. I don't think that's going to happen time in and time out. And the Seattle one,
even if it does, that's not a knock on a defense that can adjust in game and just take you out of the rhythm you had in the first half.
Yeah,
that's going to win you games.
Yes, they held him under 200 yards.
Honestly, man, I think 49ers fans are just getting spoiled these days.
No, because I think the thing is that they have issues. Now you hear guys like Colin Cowherd and them. Oh, well, they have issues. The one that really kind of irks me.
They have issues.
The one thing that irks me is the Seattle one. To think that Russell Wilson and them exposed that defense is one of the biggest crocs ever.
No, I don't.
They scored 27 points. Okay, 7 points came from a Jimmy Garoppolo fumble when the defense put it into the end zone. The other one came in interception. The other one was a fumble by Garoppolo. Anytime that the Niners punted the ball and made Seattle go the long way, they ended up with 6 points.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
they punted it once, they got a field goal. They punted at the end of overtime. So for me,
I don't see anybody having any valid reason for thinking that this 49ers defense has been exposed.
No,
far from it.
No, I mean, and they still have depth losing Quan Alexander. They're gonna be without D Ford. They signed, God, I want to say his name right, Terry Moore, who made the big play, made the fumble.
Yeah.
To seal the game against Arizona. This guy was on our practice squad. A lot of 49ers loved him in the preseason. Yeah. Edge rusher, kind of a power rusher. They wanted to see him come back. He was made in the final cuts, but with the issue with Ronald Blair being out for the year, they signed him and he made immediate impact. And now with D Ford kind of banged up and maybe missing a couple of weeks, they're going to lean on him quite a bit.
Yeah, I for me, man, I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to have a big test on defense because you guys are going up against Aaron Rodgers, and I know firsthand how, you can play the perfect defense and that's still no answer for him on certain plays.
I remember that Kansas City one this year where it's like he had no business throwing that.
Yeah.
I look at that game, and, they got flexed to Sunday night. It's a big Sunday night game in Levi's. This is probably for the second or first seed. Like, this is, to me, this is for a bye.
Oh, yeah, this is playoff contention. Yeah. This is playoff seeding at its finest here.
And so this is honestly one of the, I forget where I read it on Twitter.
San Francisco's only a game up.
Yeah, across the board.
Yeah, right. It's close.
So I look at it like this. This is probably one of the toughest 3-game stretches anybody's gone to. Every team that we play is 8-2, 8-2, 8-2. Them, the Ravens, and at the end at New Orleans. So this is it's going to test them. Man, when I look at this game against Green Bay, I don't want to underestimate their defense because that's the mistake I made against Seattle. I underestimated Seattle's defense, and that came back to bite me. I just didn't think Seattle could do that to the Niners. I know that Green Bay has a Darius Smith and Preston Smith. Their corners are locked down. They got good young corners. Green Bay can run the ball. They play a similar offense. Where I think they're going to run into trouble and where the Niners can take advantage is like what the Chargers did. Is basically just their offensive line is not built to handle our defensive line. And Aaron Rodgers scrambles to throw. He doesn't scramble to run.
No.
So I don't have to worry about him. Yeah, he'll do it occasionally. I'm not saying he won't. If it's there, he'll take it. But, I feel like you can get to him a little bit easier than you can get to like a Russell Wilson. You just can't give him time to reset in the pocket.
Oh, no.
If you let him scramble and reset his feet or get his eyes downfield, you're screwed. You get to him before and you make him scramble and look down, even for a split second, you got him.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you let him look up, it's over. So I think that the Niners being able to put pressure on them, it is going to depend on the offense. All three of the big ones are going to be practicing. Kittle's not practicing. Sanders isn't practicing. Deebo Samuel's not practicing. And that hurts to really be down your 3 probably best targets in the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
especially when, you could be in a shootout.
Yeah. You don't have Breida. That's kind of the quiet sort of how banged up the 49ers really are.
Right.
People look at them like, it's like they're doing it without their 3 best targets. You do that to any team in the NFL, they're going to hit a road. They're going to hit speed bumps. They're not going to look as good as they should. The quarterback isn't going to look as good as he should. And so that changes my opinion come Sunday night.
Yeah.
If they're all 3 of them aren't there, I don't know how the Niners win that game. That's asking a lot.
I don't think that the Green Bay Packers are world beaters, though.
No, I don't either.
I don't. I still think they're a very beatable team. I still give the edge to your defense over their offense, even with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to give them plays. Mm-hmm. He's going to make a few plays. He's going to put some points on the board. At minimum, Aaron Rodgers on offense, with the weapons he has, I'd probably say he's even if your defense plays lights out, he's still putting up 17 to 20 points.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a great effort by your defense. That's the way I look at it.
That's true.
So to me, how's your offense going to play to keep your defense in the game? Keep them off the field. Are you guys going to go 3 and out a couple of times? Because if you do, that to me is a bad sign early.
You're giving him more plays, too. You're giving him more time on the field.
Right. And, Aaron Jones is no slouch right now. He's having a big, big year.
Yeah.
So, he can get it done on the ground. He can get it done in the passing game, everything. So it's going to be up to the San Francisco 49ers to really play consistent from the jump for them to have a chance. That's the way I look at it. But I think that if they do, and I have no reason to believe they can't, because that defense has risen up to just about every challenge this season.
Yep.
But I got to admit, this is by far the biggest challenge. Russell Wilson is a one-man show.
Yeah.
He is single-handedly the biggest challenge. But if you're just talking offense in general, I think like Aaron Jones is just another dimension.
They're more well-rounded team.
Yeah, right, on offense. So I think this is going to be a little bit bigger of a test for the defense.
And, Arizona had some success going at Richard Sherman early and often in that game. You know, so that is one thing that, I mean, if Kyler Murray's willing to test him, you don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to test that too.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to want to make sure that you're kind of locked down Richard Sherman. I'm hoping he kind of squares those issues away. But, yeah, I mean, the defense, I think, will get theirs. I think Aaron Rodgers will move it. It's about holding kind of like what we saw in certain games where, like, you'll get some yards here and there. But they're great on third down. One of the best defenses on third down. They get after the quarterback. But, again, like you said, it's going to be on offense if we have – if they're all there, and even if they're not 100% healthy, I think that's enough to win that game. I'm not going to say big, but I would say by a touchdown, 9 points, something like that. Whereas if they're not there, man, here we are looking at probably a big loss, because then you're putting that defense on. You're putting your best weapon. You're using it over and over and over again. And sooner or later, Aaron Rodgers is going to find cracks, just like Russell Wilson. The reason why Russell Wilson finally broke that defense is because we kept giving him opportunities at that defense.
Right.
Because we could not move the ball. We couldn't get points. We missed a field goal. And sooner or later, Russell Wilson, being the type of player he was, found a hole in that defense.
Right.
And Aaron Rodgers will do the same if you keep giving him opportunities.
He'd
and
probably
cracks.
figure it out quicker, to be honest. It's honest truth, which is why I think the key, if you're asking me, my prediction for the game, I think the key is going to be Kittle.
Yeah.
I know, you mentioned, some of your receivers and things like that, but it's Kittle. He's the best player on offense, hands down.
Yes.
The best player on offense.
Second best. It's either the best tight end or second best tight end as you look at it. No one else can make that claim on that offense.
And as far as what matters here is he's the best offensive player for the 49ers. He's the best tight end on the field in that game.
Yes.
In that stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what matters.
Yeah.
And so if he shows up, I give the edge to the 49ers.
Yeah.
Because I believe that's Jimmy Garoppolo's security blanket. I know he's comfortable with Kittle. I know Kittle believes in Garoppolo. I truly believe, watching from afar, that Kittle gives Garoppolo confidence.
Yes.
I don't see that confidence these last couple of weeks.
No.
Not the same. Not saying that he's scared or nothing, but I just don't see that same confidence. And so that confidence of having your security blanket on third down, keep the defense off the field, keep the offense off the field, for the Green Bay. Keep Aaron Rodgers off the field.
Yeah.
That's the key. And with Kittle, I can see the 49ers doing that and not giving Aaron Rodgers too many shots at that defense early on. But if no Kittle,
and then
I can see
Green
a couple
Bay.
3 and outs. I could see Green Bay jumping out to a lead, and it's hard to come back on that defense.
I agree. And one thing to say about Kittle is what's underrated is what he does in the running game. If you notice, their running game hasn't been great. Kittle's been gone those games. When Kittle's there, his ability to help in the running game is
I see him sealing blocks left and right out there. He's not a road grader by any stretch, but he seals off edges.
His athleticism allows him to get to a corner and peel that off for just a second or two, which is all you need.
Just let that running back get through the
I
hole.
think Garoppolo and Sanders are there, but like you said, it's him and Kittle. Kittle will be the number one. And I think that I'm going to go on a limb and predict right now that Kittle will play, that Samuel and Sanders will play. They'll be compromised, but they'll play. And I think that the Niners end up winning this one, like you said, 28-20.
28-20, close game and this is with Kittle.
With Kittle.
Yeah, I you know what? I agree with you 110% on that. I think with Kittle, I think you're going to be able to move the ball. You're going to keep the confidence with Garoppolo, keep the 49ers defense, well rested, which they're going to have to be. Don't let Aaron Rodgers have too many cracks at that defense, because I think he has the ability to crack your defense harder and faster than Russell Wilson could ever dream of. And I'm saying that from experience.
Yeah.
Man. I'm not saying that to talk shit to you as a Niners fan.
No.
I'm not saying that to scare Niners Nation and Niners faithful out there.
No.
I'm saying that because he's done that same thing.
He's done that to lots of
us.
Yeah.
If you give him too many shots at your defense, he will beat your defense with the game on the line. You have to get ahead of him.
Yeah.
That's the key.
And I agree, and I'm hoping for it. It'll be exciting. One or another, this is one of the biggest games, and it's glad that the Niners are finally playing big games. It's been a while.
Yeah.
This is going to be their
they need
first.
to win one.
Yeah, they do. You know,
that's
it's just
just
step
the,
3. I
just
mean,
the truth.
you know, when the season started really quickly, the one thing I circled was split with your rivals and split with Seattle and the Rams and sweep Arizona. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
A team that was improving. I mean, this is going to be their first winning season since 2013 when they went to the NFC Championship with Harbaugh, and it's second to last year.
Yeah.
But you know, enough about that. Let's get into Dallas. I mean, like we talked about, Dallas had a bounce back game, you know, going into Detroit and walking out with a 35-27 victory, despite another slow start, which included a Zeke fumble on his first carry and led to the Lions cashing in for 7 points. I mean, they just rallied around Dak Prescott, who finished the game with 29 of 46, 444 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. You know, without Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup stepped up for 148 yards on 9 receptions. And I mean, at the end of the day, you know, the Lions tried the same trick that the Vikings did, and Dak made them pay.
You know, every time I watch a Cowboys game, man, it's getting to the point where it's like a serial TV show. It's like, tune into Batman this week, and it's tune in to the Cowboys trip over their own feet in the first quarter. How are the Cowboys going to fuck this up in the first quarter this week? That's just what it is. You mentioned the Zeke fumble. Zeke fumbles on his first carry of the game, gives them the ball at the 28-yard line. That's right outside of the red zone. 5 plays later, Bo Scarborough, who was, you know, our 7th-round draft pick a couple of years ago.
I remember him, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I don't know. He never did anything of note, and yet he's playing for the Lions in his first ever NFL regular season game, and he scores a touchdown on you. Just adds insult to injury. It's salt on the wound, thinking that, man, this guy is tearing it up, and ran right through that defense into the end zone. Again, just a slow start by both I can't blame the defense too much because the offense put them in that position, but hold them to a field goal like you did the New York Giants.
Yeah.
It got the Cowboys into trouble early. Jeff Driscoll, man, this guy can move, man.
Yeah.
I thought he's the white Michael Vick.
Yeah.
I mean, he really looked like the white Michael Vick out there. I mean, he was running all over that Cowboys defense. You know, later on in the game, I think the Cowboys made the adjustment, made him throw the ball, realized, oh, wait, this guy's not too good at throwing the ball. And I think they improved as the game went along. But, man, you also brought up Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott had a great game, 444 yards, 3 touchdowns like you mentioned. But here's what I looked up some stats just in general, even outside of this game. Dak is leading the league now in passing yards.
Yeah, I saw that.
3,221 passing yards. He leads, and if you think, oh, well, he wouldn't be throwing for the most yards if Mahomes had played all the games. Well, he's also number 1 in yards per game with 322. He leads the league in touchdown percentage, throwing touchdown percentage at 5.8. He leads the league in yards per attempt, 8.8. So all that Shannon Sharp bullshit about Dink and Dak and Dunk and all that stuff.
No, he's throwing deep.
He's throwing deep with consistency now, and leading the league. He's taken the least amount of sack percentages at 3.2. And, I mean, the guy's doing it all. Add that with 193 yards rushing. And I think he's got 3 rushing touchdowns on the season. He's on pace to finish with over 5,100 yards.
Yeah.
So that would be like, what, 6th or 7th all time?
Yeah, he's getting up there. 5,000 yards, even in this day and age, is still pretty rare.
Yeah, and so for me, man, the only knock on Dak is he has 9 interceptions. Now, I don't like to apologize for interceptions. It is what it is. You know what? You're the leader of the offense. You take the good. You get all the credit. You get all the blame.
Yeah.
I will say this. A couple people will say, yeah, like 3 or 4 of those interceptions bounced right off the guy's hands.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Cooper, Gallup,
yeah.
Cobb, yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. But I will give him sort of a pass on 2 of them because 2 of those were 4th quarter Hail Mary heaves last play of the game.
Yeah, those don't.
Those are just, you're trying to win the game.
You're punting.
You're not even punting. It's the end of the game. It's just, I have to throw this up if we, And so I don't see those as INTs. Like, it wasn't a turnover at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know what? Dak's starting to you know, I it's weird to say, but he's kind of. I don't think he's better than Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers or anybody for the MVP, but he's just that tier. He's on the top of the tier.
Tier,
yeah, and he's trying to like, you know, inch his way into that tier. So, I mean, I'm glad to see it, man. I'm glad to see it. But, you know, not all is good on the Cowboys offense, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching that game, and I don't know. You tell me, because I feel like the Ezekiel Elliott that was drafted and that has done what he's done is not the Ezekiel Elliott I'm watching anymore. And then, I don't know. You tell me, is it the defense? Is it the line? Or is it him? Because he doesn't look explosive. I mean, they try to force feed him the ball, and it just he has like flashes, but nothing like before. Like the plays that were touchdowns, 40 yards, 50-yard touchdowns are like 10 yards, 12 yards. And the ones that were averages are losses or met at the line. So what's going on with Zeke?
Zeke, man, finished this game 16 carries for just 45 yards. He had a touchdown, but just a 2.8 yards per carry average. That's not that great.
No.
Now, here's the thing. When your quarterback's passing for 444 yards, 3 touchdowns, just having his way.
It is what it is.
It's because they're selling out to stop Zeke.
Yeah.
And they're just saying Zeke will not beat us. And you know what? He can run for 2.8 yards per carry as long as we're winning these games and Dak's lighting it up. I think you're going to see Zeke bounce back, because I don't think that defenses I think defenses are going to give Zeke a little bit more room to run now. They're going to realize they're going to have to keep safeties deeper, because there's a lot of big plays from this Cowboys offense. You're seeing it on both sides of the field with Cooper, with Gallup. If they will ever let Blake Jarwin get a little more plays, he can run some of those seam routes deep. That's the one thing I think this offense is missing vertically from Witten.
Yeah.
He just can't get vertical. You know, I mean, he's great on the 5-yard routes. He's great on the out routes.
Yeah.
Great on the curls, but he's got to go deep in the seams. You know,
yeah.
Maybe that'll give, you know, Zeke some more room to run.
Yeah, exactly.
Things like that. But I do agree. I do see Zeke not quite as explosive as he was his first 2 years in the league. I don't think he's hitting the holes with the same burst.
No.
I really don't. I know that's what it is. There's something off with Zeke. I can't put my finger on it, but it's like taking an A+ player and saying, well, now he's at an A-. I don't think it's that big a deal with just him. I think it's a lot of the way defenses are playing. I think it's the way the Cowboys are calling offenses. You know, a lot of Cowboys fans were calling for Scott Linehan's head.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I think the offense is better and has improved since he's left. But one thing he knows how to do is he knew how to run the ball effectively. I don't think we're seeing that same effectiveness in the running game since Linehan's been gone. I'm not trying to say I want him back. No. I'm just trying to say that, hey, not all was bad. You know, he had his strengths.
Yeah.
And I think that might be a little bit to do with that. And I don't see any analyst talking about that.
No.
You know?
Yeah, it does seem like they don't. It doesn't seem like, maybe it's me, they seem to run out of the shotgun a little more than I see.
Than they used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, Zeke could dot the I. It looks like whenever they're under center, it's for play action. You know.
Right.
It's to use it as a threat instead of actually running the ball. And it always feels like it's that mesh point and defense is just keying in the gaps. And so it's going to be interesting because, you know, it's going to be interesting for defenses to decide, well, what are we going to do? Because sooner or later they're going to have to address it. And I guess there's no better coach person to see what Dallas's offense really is than the opponent that's coming.
Are you trying to say that Bill Belichick is going to figure out what this Cowboys offense is before Jason Garrett?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
he is the challenge, you guys, that is going to challenge it, because what does Bill Belichick like to do? And it's said ad nauseum is he takes away what a team likes to do best. But the question is, what does he view the team?
That's what I'm interested in.
You know,
yeah, because I can't figure that out.
Yeah.
If you ask me who should I stop right now, I mean, we just said Zeke's not looking as good as he did in previous years. Dak's looking way better than he did in previous years. So who do you stop first?
I don't know, man. This one is, I think if you're Belichick, and of course Belichick eons ahead of me, but in my opinion is you have to confuse Dak as much as you can. I think you can play your base defense and get them into second and long and third and long, because they run it on first down.
Yeah.
Almost every single time. You know, it's inside,
more often than not. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that Belichick looks at it like, okay, we're going to do something. We're going to confuse him. We're going to make it think like we have man on Cooper and it's him and Gilmore, but really it's a zone. Or we're not even going to put Gilmore. We're going to put him on Gallup, and we'll shut Gallup down, and we'll bracket and confuse him on that route. I think that it's going to be an interesting game. I mean, going into Foxborough.
It's the number one offense versus the number one defense.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's your, and let's be honest, it's really what your strength is your passing game, your receivers, your quarterback versus their defensive backs.
Which is the strength of their defense. Yeah. Right.
So, maybe it'll behoove them to run the ball.
As a non-Cowboys fan, who do you give the edge to? The New England pass defense or the Cowboys passing offense?
Talent for talent, I probably would give it to you, but then I have to add one tiny little thing, and that's the fact that it's Bill Belichick kind of coordinating that defense, and that's what gives them the edge. That doesn't mean that they're going to win or they're going to dominate, but I just think that as much as Kellen Moore gets all the props and he's changed that passing offense for the better, I mean, you're still running against Bill Belichick, who has made geniuses look like fools.
Oh, yeah.
For decades.
Right.
Decades.
Yeah.
So I expect a game plan similar to what they did to Jared Goff in the Super Bowl. A lot of man, just how they tried. Just now, obviously, I don't think Dak is as bad as Goff was.
Not only that, but if they want to play man like that, Dak can take advantage of that. Dak has legs.
Yes.
That Goff doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
So I think I think that's what he's going to come out with first to test the waters.
Yeah.
The issue comes for New England is in trying to test those waters and figure it out. If you put yourself in a hole, I mean, I don't know if Tom Brady, and this is the weirdest thing ever being said, is I don't know if Tom Brady can deliver you out of a hole. I don't know if you're down 14-0 to Dallas, if Tom Brady's going to be able to rally that team. I mean, we're entering an age where it's starting to look like we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for Tom Brady.
Oh, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of quarterbacks. Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger.
That train has hit those other ones.
Eli Manning.
That train has ran him over
They're
twice.
Done, It's like, but like these guys were the greats, man.
Yeah, it's just something so different. They were greats, and he was the greatest of the greats in this era.
Right.
So it is so different to see him struggle. I've seen Phillip Rivers throw boneheaded picks for the last 5 years. Not to this level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, in this sense, it's like watching Muhammad Ali fight Larry Holmes.
Yeah.
And it's sad because it was this one.
But he's not that bad. It's just he's not Tom Brady anymore.
But that's still, we're talking about Tom Brady. So
right.
like if this was Joe Blow, or if this was Rivers having a decline, or Breeze, or Roethlisberger, you kind of like, okay, I see it, but it's just so jarring to see Tom Brady miss throws like that.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady looks so
he
like
was missing them against Philadelphia.
Yeah. So, it will be interesting what, again, Belichick, because he does it all, what they dial up against the Dallas defense, which, I mean,
I think the Cowboys just can't make the same mistakes because Belichick will make them pay.
Oh yeah, if you're down 21, if the reverse, if you're down 21, 17-0 to Belichick at home, yeah,
it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
It's over. He'll do enough. I think that it'd be interesting to see how they use the running game against you guys, because it does seem to be the flaw.
That is what I'm interested in. What can the Patriots do on offense to the Cowboys?
I think they're gonna run the ball. I think they're gonna.
Sony Michel's struggling.
Yes. And
hit that 2.8 yards per carry average. Sony Michel is not running too much higher than that in the season.
And while I agree, I think that I kind of give faith to them in the sense that they can get to those linebackers. And I think if you can get to those linebackers with guards and center, I mean, I think you'll be able to find some holes. I'm not saying, I honestly think this is going to be like and as crazy as it sounds, I think this is going to be like a 21-17 game. I don't think this gets to 24 points. I think that Dallas struggles continue, but at the same time, I don't think New England's going to be able to capitalize the way they would like to.
I don't think New England is going to be able to move the ball consistently. I see them playing better than they played against Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Especially because you're going up against the Cowboys' run defense, which has to account for something.
Yeah.
Michel might be able to get going, but I don't see how he can hurt you for 4 quarters and keep you down.
Yeah.
I don't. Tom Brady's going to have to make plays. I think Tom Brady's going to have to step up and be Tom Brady if they want to win this game.
Yes.
Tom Brady's not winning this game throwing for 250 yards passing.
No.
I just don't see it. Not with the Cowboys offense. When I look at the New England offense, name me one player at any of the 11 positions and say he's better than the Cowboys at that position this year.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, obviously, yes, but the way they're playing this year.
I mean, I don't know where. I really can't. I can't.
There's not one, man.
And I agree with you. The one thing they have, and I know it sucks because you go back to the one thing they have because they've had talent deficient teams, and Brady's kind of carried them. Dragged some of the offensive years when they didn't have Gronk, when Gronk wasn't healthy. So man, I look at it like Ken Belichick and McDaniels scheme something up. I think you're going to see a ton of trick plays out of New England. Just like they did Philly, I think they're going to do that to a higher effect against Dallas. I think you want to take advantage of Dallas's speed and Dallas's aggressiveness on defense and kind of put them in position. I think you might see another Edelman or a Sanu touchdown off a double reverse.
That's the thing, though. It's just Edelman.
Yeah.
That's it. Sanu.
Well, I'm not talking about like
Sanu would he even be on our wide receiver core?
No.
In Dallas, you know what I mean?
When I say that, I'm talking about like a double reverse trick.
Yeah,
play.
right.
Because he could throw the ball,
keep them off balance. Yeah.
I could see Sanu throwing a touchdown. I could see Sanu throwing a touchdown and Brady having none. Yeah. I honestly if they. I'm not saying they'd win that way, but if they were to lose, that can happen. Down.
I just look. I put a couple of stats together for the game. When I'm looking at the one key that I wanted to give New England is that their left tackle Wynn is coming back off of IR and the toe injury, so maybe that helps the running game. Maybe that helps the pass game. Maybe left tackle is a big issue.
I agree, but from experience, man, just because they're back doesn't mean they're ready to take on a DeMarcus Lawrence.
That's true too. To me, the Cowboys are number one in the league on third downs, 53%, over 53%.
Yeah.
So, this New England defense is going to have to do it with their front seven. Yes. And like you said, the money is on the back end with Gilmore and them, and the McCourties. But we'll see what happens. I think Dallas has the weapons on offense to match up. I think Stephon Gilmore versus Amari Cooper is going to be the matchup that I have my eye on. Like, if I'm keeping my eye a little bit extra close on any matchup, it's Gilmore versus Cooper. Yeah. Now, how much help will they give Gilmore on Cooper? That's the key.
Now, would they even do it, though? Because I've seen them do the opposite. They're going to put Gilmore on Gallup, and they'll confuse.
They'll bracket Cooper,
Because I think what the key for them to slow down the Cowboys' offense is two things. One, more times than not, Cooper's going to be the first read.
Right.
If you can confuse him and make Dak hold the ball a second longer, and as long as whenever you get to him, you bring him down, I think you can slow this offense down. Basically, if you can get Dak to where, I think it's, the linebacker buzz underneath, I have to hold the ball an extra minute. I look to Gallup, he's locked down. Here comes, Van Noy or Jamie Collins or one of God knows who. Right. And as long as they get him down. Now, if you let Dak wiggle free and he can either scramble for or reset, then you're SOL.
Right.
So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. If the way the New England defense plays the Cowboys offense is really going to be interesting.
It is. And
I think this could be a potential Zeke big game. Yeah. I think this is the potential bounce back game. I really do, man. Look, in the end, like you said, Bill Belichick will take away your strength. He'll make you fight left-handed. But which one is the Cowboys' right hand? Is it Dak or Zeke?
Yeah.
And we're going to see what Bill Belichick thinks on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
In the end, as a longtime Cowboys fan, I've seen this same story over and over and over again. We lose the big games that everyone expects us to win.
Yeah.
That's why we lost to the Minnesota Vikings. That's why we lost to the Green Bay Packers. When they don't think you can win, that's when the Cowboys win. Remember when we had no chance in New Orleans last season?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened there?
We beat New Orleans.
All right. And then remember when we were supposed to beat Green Bay in the playoffs?
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
No.
That is the history of the Dallas Cowboys. And that's why I think the Cowboys will win this game. I don't have too much of a different scoring output, a little bit higher. I think the Cowboys will win something like 27-24.
Yeah.
That's the way I see this game. I just don't think that the New England offense can stay with this Cowboys defense. I don't think the New England defense has faced an offense like this.
I think that's I think a passing game like Baltimore's different. Yeah, Baltimore is explosive, but in a different way. Yeah, but I get you. Like they haven't faced a passing game this sophisticated
and this complete.
I agree with you.
Right, a complete offense.
Yeah,
and look, I know Bill Belichick is Bill Belichick, but he can be had in bits and spurts.
Yeah,
they just have to capitalize on that.
Yeah,
that's the key.
I think for me, I'll put it this is the closest I will ever admit, because if you had asked me in years prior, like, there's no way they come close. I think, and I'll say this, if this game was in Dallas, I'd have the Cowboys winning by a field goal. I think it's a field goal game. I really do. I think the slow starts continue, especially in Foxborough, and I think it'll be similar. It's going to be a typical Cowboy game, I think, is they're going to start off slow. They'll claw their way back, but I think that Belichick will do enough just to slow them down just a bit to lose 21. I didn't even say like 21-20. Like I think it's going to be that close. I think that'll be the difference. That being said, if Dallas came out there, like if I said who has the better chance to wipe the other one out, I would say Dallas. Like if I said you got to put money on who, like if it was the game was going to be a blowout, who would you put your money on? Oh, I'd put it on Dallas to blow them out before I'd put it on New England.
They have the potential to do it.
Exactly. But right now, I mean, like you said, and the same thing we talked about with the Niners, I want to see it first. Show it to me.
Yeah.
Show me you can go in New England and beat the GOAT and Belichick, Right. And if you do, man, I tell you what, if you win this game, I think you've sewn up that NFC East. Excuse me.
Right. Especially because Philly has Seattle.
Yeah.
And they lost to them. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's going to be exciting. These are two great games. This is going to be a stressful but fun Sunday for us.
Yeah.
And I think we both look forward to coming and talking about either venting or gloating come Wednesday.
Either way, we will be here for you guys. Week 13. We'll try to go live Wednesdays around this same time, anywhere from 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
When we get it together. And we'll just be going over all these games, man, recapping the New England game versus the Cowboys. That's a big game. You got the big Sunday night football game now. You got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Green Bay Packers. I mean, we're taking on old school, legendary quarterbacks.
Yep.
We got to take the crown off the king and see if these teams can make some noise in the playoffs. You guys have pretty much punched your ticket in the playoffs at this point, minus that. But we'll keep it here, man. So, guys, that's all we got here for the Red and Blue Rivalry podcast. We will catch you guys back on week 13 again. Sub up to the channel. If you're not subbed up, leave a like, share the link. Do what you got to do and help us grow the channel. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on here as well. So, guys, for Eric Hernandez, this is Philip Enriquez. We will catch you on the flip side.